Welcome, come and watch till the end. An alien invader struck the planet 5 years ago. A kind of alien that we refer to as the mimics, and that the invasion has progressed consistently ever since it began. Considering all of mainland Europe is under foreign power at the moment, the only hope for humanity is the United Defense Force. The hope, in an attempt to convince a greater number of individuals to participate in their activities, each volunteer will be given a high-tech battlesuit, and this is Major William Cage, representing the United States Army. It is part of his duty to handle media relations. He is trying to sway public opinion in favor of the UDF, often seen on television elaborating on the war. The right armor may turn an ordinary soldier into a great soldier. A novice member of the general public is an excellent. An example of this would be Rita Ratatsky and her amazing number of people killed at the Battle of Verdun. This was also the very first thing ever to exist on Earth. To date, Victory has been termed the Angel of Victory. Verdun Rita without any prior experience or training. Now, the UVF is making preparations for a large-scale counterattack. The start of Operation Downfall is almost approaching. Tomorrow and Braham will need assistance with this matter. An opportunity for resistance given the nature of the mission, Cage is certain to result in the loss of many lives. He has been notified that he will be serving in the first wave the next day, attempting to stay. He explains in a calm manner that he is merely a lovely face. Braham explains that this is a facet of the turning to direct orders first, then the Cage serves as a reminder to the general blackmail that he was able to turn the story around in the opposite direction. A move that was very clearly in the wrong direction. Following after a short chase, he is rendered unconscious by his opponent's shock pistol and awakens at the Heathrow base in a confused state. Sergeant Farrell is placed in handcuffs and given a paper from the left pocket of his jacket, and it claims that Cage is a straggler who has been left behind. Detected trying to evade arrest by pretending to be a police officer. His responsibility by giving a lengthy lecture about glory. After that, Farrell introduces him to the J Squad. A speedy examination is required of the sergeant. Bring to their attention his individual standpoint. About the playing cards, he does not provide information. Cage under their watchful care, and then they continued. Ironically, to ignore him while everyone else does it seems to have a greater familiarity with the superhero, better suited to wear the company's poster boy. At 6 in the morning, he will be boarding the flight with the remaining members of the unit soon taking flight towards the direction of the coast of France. There is an announcement made at 30 seconds to go. Explosion aboard the ship, as well as what had caused it. What was anticipated to be anarchy turned out to be utter torment. The mimics are obviously ready for the challenge. Assault as if they were aware there were people around. Coming right up, Cage is only doing his thing right now. It is probably advisable to fake your death. As a significant portion of their very own aircraft, Private Kimmel is what comes tumbling down. The first to meet his end at the hands of Rita. Additionally present and using the war suit is Ratatsky. Like a seasoned practitioner, she was struck too. And now that we have got that out of the way, let us have a look at animals that resemble others in appearance are known as mimics. Resemble octopus, and they are able to conceal themselves in the sand to creep up on you from underneath when you least expect it. It takes place close to the Cage, where he is still battling it out with the device's language settings. He cannot afford the suit, so he opts for the video game instead. Method appropriate for beginners, press all of the push those buttons like mad, and you will finally get there. Anything other than his celebration shot, please. Laughter does not continue for long. A swarm of imitators is heading in his direction, and there's also one that is somewhat larger and seems to Cage, which is packed with blue flames, manages to blow up the blue alien, but unfortunately he too gets taken care of. Captured in the explosion, which is when Cage first wakes up in London, strange things start to happen. Once again, at the Heathrow Airport terminal, of course. However, he did wake up, even though he had not intended to. What is stranger is the fact that everything appears and resonates in precisely the same way. Sergeant Farrell acts as though they have already had the conversation. Cage, whom he has never met, inquires about the day of the week. But Farrell cannot let this chance slip through his fingers, replying that it is the day of judgment. Then he maintains a very consistent delivery while Cage being escorted to J Squad Kimmel's location there. Pretty much like nothing occurred during the day continues, going over and over with just a few changes. Cage is the one responsible for the alterations. Himself, it may have been a prerequisite for the position. A warning regarding the potential risks associated with, in this scenario, it would have been for nothing. Because all he does is sit back and watch things unfold. The explosion on board the airplane getting Himmel shattered, he does not move a muscle till the last end. Reed is in danger, but he is able to avoid it. If you help her, she will demonstrate her appreciation via ignoring the fact that he was hurt and leaving him there while, because a mimic is on their way, This counts as Groundhog War, it would seem, but do not be afraid. The next time, he is going to take action regarding. He begins by relating the story to Sergeant Farrell. What is it that is in his left pocket that makes him vulnerable to be forced to appear before J-Squad in even greater amount, almost similar to before after phoning each other? Naming one of them by name, indicating which one it is. The same playing cards are hidden beneath the blanket. Request that everyone listen to what he has to say. They are not going to surprise the mimics with this mission. Is a major oversight, therefore it is best to put the tape on immediately. His oral cavity, music, is just another of these rather insignificant alterations. At the very least, he is attempting to caution them about the explosion. He is unsuccessful in his attempt to do so, but he will not. If you fail Kimmel this time, the following will happen. Cage dies again, no problem, simply feed him. Just another day and a half, and he will be here. Having acquired the knowledge necessary to save Kimmel, essentially all that remains is for him to pass away, and please continue to visit us a few more times until he is satisfied. Capable of carrying on a respectable discussion with. In addition to Rita, he also has a second significant astonishment at seeing that she had at long last stopped to. When she hears that, she instantly gets it. What is going on, taking into account the fact that the ship, immediately behind him, she is going to detonate the bomb. He is instructed to locate her when he regains consciousness. Return to London. It is the day before again, and here we are. Since he is more experienced now, he does not bother trying anymore. Persuade others that he has insight into the future. Now, all he does is sit around and wait for a chance to stealthily leave and search for Rita. They found her there. Is exquisitely well balanced right in the center of killing machines have a rapid spinning motion that is meant to like mimics who were first angry at the situation. When there is an interval, her facial expression shifts. When she is aware of what he is saying, she instructs him he should keep it to himself, or else he will get himself into trouble. Up at a mental hospital, and then she inquires as to, during the first time he passed away, if there was there a blue alien involved? If so, maybe he got away. The fact that it is coated in its blood cage substantiates this. All in all, that is what happened. And it is a kind of infectious disease. According to her, terrible took place to her, but now that she is here, she may lost it. He is obligated to make use of that skill to assist her victory in the battle. Rita walks him across the military installation to meet the other. Dr. Carter addresses Cage and informs him that the Cage is the new hero. She also claims that he is not having any of those. The visions, but the very end of the book makes Cage apprehensive and insistent that they be told a tiny bit more in the past. Dr. Carter was at the top of his field. Whitehall employee who specializes in alien biology, until the time he devoted to investigating Rita's case, ruined both his professional life and his reputation, elucidates the role that mimics play in synchronicity as if they were part of the same creature. The more insignificant ones are only pawns, feet, troops, or whatever you want to call them. The blue ones are the alphas, and each and every one of them is under the command of the Omega, a colossal extraterrestrial that nobody has ever seen in real life. The only people who have. Because of this, you are aware of its appearance. The Omega has the capacity to fulfill Rita's visions, to regulate the time and reset the day on a daily basis. Every time an alpha loses their life, which is why they are called unconquerable, they are constantly aware of what the one and only shortcoming of mankind is that they will do. A case of unintentional transmission of this type that gives an individual the same amount of authority. This is the method through which they dealt a blow to Verdun. The experience allowed Rita to relive the first day of her job, numerous times that it evolved into a kind of prediction game. It had absolutely nothing to do with the game. Cage is content with these pitiful outfits for the time being. Have access to all this fresh data, but that is not the wait until he learns what these two have been up to. Desire from him, thus they demand that he keep on passing away. Every day in this manner, he would start the day again. For everyone who helps halt the adversaries until his own visions are able to assist them progress, find the Omega, and once he does, he will tell Rita to the location, and she will put an end to the problem. From this point on, Rita will be in charge of his preparing for the actual battle, and both Braham and Pharaohs are wonderful early childhood educators. It seems that in comparison to her, that she was rendered powerless as a result of her injury. The blood that she got at the hospital in Verdun Hospital was substituted with the one with the alien spikes. When there was no longer any evidence of the visions, whenever Cage gets injured, he is required to do the following. Check to see whether it will kill you, and replace if it doesn't. Murder him, Rita will, and with that, we are right back where we started. Once again, he manages to slip in several push-ups, and Farrell is irritated with everyone he encounters. Taking a far more straightforward approach, Rita, in an effort to move things forward more quickly, They get back to training, he sustains an injury, and Rita pulls him out. The same triggers several times over and over again. While it is always day one for Rita, it is not for him. There have been many months of preparation for and until the day eventually came when there was a gap between the bullets. In both the awakening and there, he sees a vision. Are there some mountains, a dam, and writing in there? German. And at that point he notices the Omega in the when Rita hears the noise, she is at the bottom of a deep tank. Regarding this, she makes the declaration that practice is after which they will go on to the second phase. This is an example when that first script is followed, till the landing, which turned out to be a disaster. Now it is time to figure out how to get out of this predicament. Seashore, they use the same tactic over and over again. They remember each other via Rita's utilization in Verdun. Move that works until finally they are able to move that works, until they reach one that doesn't, at which point they leave, again, and keep going through the process of replacing the final action taken by someone else, bit by bit. Although slowly, they are making some headway, but there is something else going on in there right now. Small heart of a cowardly lion when he was doing it. Rita still considers her an unknown quantity. It has been a few months now, so it is becoming a regular part of his life. It is becoming excruciating to see her struggle like this. There are so many unique and original approaches, and besides that, he is sick and weary of all of this unending loop, and I am beginning to lose trust in this thing. One day, he makes the decision to deviate from the norm. He does not go on the dropship, but instead travels somewhere else, to a bar, where he becomes drunk, but does not even. Some of the veterans will ignore him and leave him alone, start giving him a hard time for not being there. They are over there, putting up a fight for the world. Accusing him of being a coward will give you more power. Goes off, and there is a warning siren sounding. There are just a few individuals outside who are jogging, shrieking in the face of the movement of something enormous. This is what takes place while one is underwater. The conclusion of the second day, the city of London is deteriorating, which seems to bring to back up some of his ambitions with recently discovered a deep-seated contempt for the imitators. But when Dr. Carter jubilantly shares the news that he has identified that the dam that guards the Vision's cage only retorts, that this is not the first instance in which he has found it. No matter what they do, others will imitate them. Every time they went to the beach, they were crushed by it. The only thing that appears to be lacking in this cage is everything. The remarkable advancements he has made in recent years recall that ambush, which was responsible for J Squad's defeat when we originally looked at it. Now Cage, not a single one of them will perish, protects them by destroying all of their imitators in the most jaw-dropping manner possible. So in the end, they are successful in escaping Seashore, and at this point they will begin the same test, a trial and error method to arrive at a functioning car and go further into the inside of his. The directions are really detailed, because it cannot be denied that they have carried out these actions prior to the time when they finally buy a vehicle. The radio, the incident in London, continues to dominate the headlines. Because of this, they neglect to remove the hook from the boat. It was shown that the trailer was behind them, and it is now being used, but Gage is prepared for that. He is now responsible for the unwanted hitchhiker who wears the outfit like a seasoned professional, troubled by the uninterrupted stillness of the prison. He attempts a daring method and predicts that they will succeed. Continue driving, and you will see her sooner or later. Open up and share things about herself and her family. And all that she will even reveal to him is her middle name. He makes it seem as if his name is Peyton. It is pointless to fight what is already happening. Transpired, with the exception of the fact that it is not her middle name. He is merely looking at other options at the moment. Each time till her response shows what it is, proper one. But unfortunately not this time, since they have run out of gas. They begin crossing on foot a meadow until they come to a deserted building. Residents search the area for anything that may be beneficial. Things, and you will discover a vehicle in the garage, but their golden goose is out in the backyard, waiting to be found. An aircraft that is kept in pristine condition, advises that they drain the gas, but Rita disagrees. Do not see why they should bother driving when they can fly. They begin to debate amongst themselves about it, but the fact that she is upset and unable to conceal it, they cannot stand the agony any longer. So they retreat inside. Moreover, he looks after her and does his best to protect her. You should try to persuade her to spend the night at the farmhouse, and she knows she has to get some rest. Where we are headed with this, of course, so she responds that if this continues to be unsuccessful, then they need to restart immediately after being reset. Over, he gives himself 10 minutes to give it another go, as well as the location of the helicopter's keys. At least they will have some idea of where they are going next. But as he is preparing her coffee and he is talking to her about, understands precisely what she wants and how she wants it. It is now very obvious that they have been present here. Prior to that, He kept all of his keys in his pockets. Throughout, he has been attempting to prevent her from flying the aircraft over to the adjacent dormant volcano. The moment she finishes speaking, Mimic comes back to life, activates the motor in each and every version. All they have attempted up to this point has led to her demise. Even if he does manage to stay alive, there is no purpose in keep continuing. He will not kill the Omega in a reality in which she has passed away because, if not, she would actually be dead forever from that point on. It is challenging to see things from her point of view. Realize how the rest of her life may matter more. A woman is more important to him than protecting the planet. Unwilling to listen and insists on continuing with her. Next, you should make plans to imitate his assaults, forcing her to lose her balance and fall down, as well as many more after them until they receive it. She reveals to them that her middle name is for the man. Rose Cage starts his day the same way he does every day. Is he content to just go through the motions? Until it is time for you to meet Rita for the event. First time once again, but then he shifts his position. Would you mind apologizing for the disruption that he just caused? He just ignores her and goes back to what he was doing. J-Squad is now a part of Operation Collapse. While Standard is able to reach the abandoned farmhouse, after that, he pilots the chopper for the whole route leading up to the Kerner Dam in Germany. Everything was precisely as in his vision. He quickly discovers the same tank, but the Omega is not there. There, an Alpha that is larger than him attacks him. Cautious not to kill him, considering the fact that it is of the trap, Cage is thrown into the sea and drowns. The next morning, which is in fact the next day. In the morning of his last day, he visits Rita and Carter gives the disappointing news that the imitators are cleverer than they had imagined. They were attempting to deprive him of his authority in the same way that they accomplished everything with Rita that the visions have. Been a fallacy from the very beginning of the only thing that can save us today is a machine that Dr. Carter, who is capable of accessing the Omega's wavelength, and one wonders why they have not experimented with it before, since the current one cannot be made to operate. Carter had constructed a more superior one at Whitehall, but it was taken away from him when he was arrested. Fell into shame. As a result, he is unable to develop it like the one with the gear that he has at the moment. Therefore, it is now time to take a trip to Braham, the general. It took him by complete surprise to see the strange couple together, and the two of them do manage to impress him. Cage's uncanny ability to foresee every eventuality that takes place, but unfortunately, that is not sufficient to convince the elderly guy who is set in his ways. Despite Rita's pointed pistol at him, he unlocks the door, secure and with both hands on the gadget, but just with regard to have a surprise waiting for them the minute they leave the house. Foot through the door, opportunity to start again and try again. They have now stolen a getaway automobile along with Rita. Adheres to the gadget that is inserted into Cage's leg, having the direct impact on him right now. Closely linked to Omega from what he can tell where exactly he is hiding beneath the cover of the Louvre Pyramid Grate. This indicates that there is nothing left that may impede them. Oh, I see. It seems like a normal soldier is here. And the action is sufficient to prevent them from continuing. In particular due to the fact that the crash doesn't kill them so that Cage may finally open his eyes. He is now being treated somewhere else. He has been given blood. No more Mr. Groundhog. This is the evening before the surgical procedure. The beginning of their demise must come before that. Get to Paris and eliminate the Omega as soon as possible. There is no second chance, and there is no space for errors. Recognizing the need for additional Cage reinforcement, returns to the old J-Squad despite the fact that he has a much more material to work with, so he offers it. Information in depth on a few of their products. The most intimate details ultimately won me over. To convince them that he is being honest with them. The presence of the Angel of Verdun is also of assistance, the reason a great deal. Thus, rather than following Sergeant Farrell, the rest of the squad will be joining you. Cage and Rita were traveling on a burgled dropship, heading to Paris even though they are quite near the museum. The mimics begin their assault on they come crashing down. However, Rita and Cage are successful in their attempt to together with a farewell kiss, she climbed the pyramid. Reveals to him that she regrets not being able to go to know him better despite the fact that he has been through all this. Remains just any random person to her though, despite the fact that she diverts the attention of a leading page and plunges it in the direction of the Omega, scattering a few explosives about its interior. Monster of a mouth. Nobody has said what takes place if the Omega passes away, yet we are just about to discover that Cage is once again reawakened from the past, but not at the Heathrow facility that he is now stationed at. Helicopter as he traveled towards the dreadful destination. Talk about things with General Brigham. Seems odd, even though everyone seems to be happy and optimistic. Brigham is holding a news conference, seminar at which it was explained that it would seem that mimics have lost their skills to combat human forces that are marching in formation. across Europe without encountering any opposition along the way. The Heathrow base cage is keeping an eye on the J Squad. Although they are far away, his buddies have never. They have not encountered him in the past. They are not familiar with him at all. Thanks for watching. Watch another video.